What's up, guys? Welcome to Chasing Pelagics, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, March 5th. Kicking off the 2026 fishing season here. We've had just an absolutely incredible winter. We got an appropriate amount of rain, not too much cold, a little bit of very little wind actually, and we really didn't have much of a winter, to be completely honest. But let's kind of dig into to what we got going on this week so far. So quick look at our 10-day. As you can see, there's not even rain in the forecast. Absolutely fantastic. We do have some wind going on right now, and I'll kick this thing off here so you can kind of see what's going on. But started off with a little northwesterly, and then we switched to a northeast to a Santa Ana condition this week. We do have some gale force winds on the outside and turned into a small craft advisory as of right now, but that should all kind of fade back and back off on Saturday. There might be a little lump and bump left, but the Santa Ana winds pushing the opposite way should really knock down whatever wind swell is out there. So keep a close eye on your marine forecast. These things are subject to change, and as I always say, spring and late fall are the dynamic times of the year, and you cannot really trust these weather forecasts much more than 24 hours or even 48 hours for that matter. But as we get more into later spring and summer, those patterns seem to stick a lot better. As I was saying, right now, this is our 10 miles to San Clemente Island, and 15 to 20 knots ripping up there. And yeah, so as this thing backs down Friday, this west swell is going to really back off, and you're just going to have a little bit of that proper swell, not the wind swell, but leftover bump from that northwest wind. Temperature wise, this is not a great chart, and tempbreak.com has kind of been failing as of late. We used to get the 7 days, and I know that the particular model that they use is kind of outdated, and they use different satellites now for a lot of stuff. So we are working on an alternative solution for this, and you're definitely going to hear about it. If you haven't already, please make sure you sign up for our mailing list on our website at chasingpelagics.com. I promise I will not spam the hell out of you. I hate spam as much as anybody else. So if you do get an email communication from us, it's a very rarity. So I promise we will not abuse it. But we do have some cool stuff that I'm excited for this season that has really been like 3 years in the making that I'm finally going to hopefully roll out here in the next couple weeks. But we want to make sure that you get that announcement for it and be able to check out what we're working on. But overall, water temps, this yellow water here, 64 degrees, 63 degrees along the coast here. Outside's cool. That's pretty normal for this time of year. I've been watching this chart for a while, but pretty much 60 to 62 degree water is not uncommon throughout the entire bite. Chlorophyll, we lost all this with some of the cloud cover this morning, but there is a little bit of green water out here. This wind's going to kind of turn some stuff around too, so not really too concerned about chlorophyll at the moment. We don't have a lot of pelagics out here at the moment, and we will get into kind of what's going on here. Obviously, kicking off the season here, not a whole lot of information to roll with. Couple little interesting gems you might have caught. The 1.5 and 2 day boats were down fishing here south, doing the kind of winter time, late winter Baja coastal cruise where they go looking for yellowtail and poke around offshore a little bit looking for bluefin. The yellowtail down south has kind of been hit or miss. Some boats scored, some didn't, end up just rock fishing. There was a couple bluefin caught, no wild crazy size, just like 60 pounders. Just a onesie twosie fish. They said they saw some, bluefin didn't cooperate, but they did manage to get a couple, and that was last weekend. So with the wind, no one's really heading down that far right now. They're gonna let this kind of blow through, and then there are some boats I think kicking off this weekend. They're gonna start doing those 1.5 to 2 day trips. So that's the type. If you really want to look for that early season bluefin, that's the type of trip you're gonna be on. 1.5 to 2 days. I'd say probably 2 days better, judging about the distance here. I mean, they're all the way down here, down to the bumps. So, and maybe they might slide up here to the 220. The guys at Mara's kind of just started doing their season kickoff here, and they're only catching bonito here in this green water, so I'm ducking my camera. And the green water here, so they haven't seen any bluefin yet. So kind of when you see those guys start seeing them, then that's kind of when you're in that day to day and a half poke around here, or overnight at least, for a bluefin. But as of right now, like I said, I mentioned we've had really good water over the winter. Normal, seasonal winter water temps kind of dip down into the mid 50s. Us surfer guys don't like to have to put on the 4.3. I haven't put on a 4.3 all year, so 3.2 has been getting the job done, and we've pretty much been 60 degrees all the way through November, December, January, which is, haven't seen that in a while. And the rumor is that the forecast for El Nino has been increasing. Again, these are models; they're not confirmed yet, but we started off with like an average. There's like I'd pull up the chart here, but I don't have it in front of me. But you can check it. I posted it on our Instagram. The forecast is kind of calling for like a 1 in that. So anything over 1.0 is an El Nino. Anything below a -1 is a La Nina. So we were pretty much neutral last year. It was a very kind of strange finish to the end of the year. It wasn't a particularly great year, I think, for fishing. It was, I'd give it like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Kind of just blah. No big fish. Kind of a weird season lull in the middle, and then got a couple fish for a couple weeks at the end, which is kind of why we stopped doing reports, because it just really wasn't good, and I didn't want to send anybody out, on a wild expedition for, I wouldn't spend my own money fishing for. But anyways, a really, really mild winter, and we've had good water temps. So I like it when people go exploring based on conditions and not on reports. And there's been a couple guys down there working the Coronados last week and scoring some yellowtail by themselves and kind of keeping off the radar. The San Diego's going to be fishing this weekend, so if they catch fish or they don't catch fish, that's going to be on their fish report. So they'll kind of blow up their bite, and we get the wind blowing today, so I don't feel like I'm ruining anyone's party that they had out there to themselves at the beginning of the season, which I commend them for going out there and making the effort and fishing for fun, not just fishing for reports on the internet, which I think is pretty cool. So far, Catalina, really quiet. There has been a couple smaller yellows caught. Nothing outrageous last week. Again, the water temp's been good. The signs are there. Just really need that push from the California current, and the way we get that is with those northwest outside winds. The ones that we usually hate in May and June, where we get the gloom, the overcast. Well, when those spool up, we get the California current flow. Basically, that's a counter current from the north wind that comes up this way and pushes this warm water up the coast to our bite, and that's how we really get the type of species that we do in our area. So once this wind starts blowing, this current starts flowing, and I wanted to point you back here to our wind. Come Monday, boom, what we got? Northwest winds, we got an eddy, we got the wind coming back up and pushing the current. So this is that springtime condition that we're looking for, that's going to help bring that warmer water back up north towards us. And this is going to kind of continue into next week, as you can see. So that's the typical condition that we're looking for this time of year, and that's usually what helps bring those fish up. So that's kind of what's going on. A couple other things I wanted to touch on. This one is it's one I've been watching for years, and it's only because I grew up in Chibico Canyon, and some of these people just drive me crazy with the stuff that they come up with. But if you're not familiar with what a steelhead trout is, it is a freshwater fish that goes back and forth between the ocean and the creeks, or the freshwater creeks here in SoCal. They are extremely endangered. I've never seen one, I can tell you that. But there's been all these activists over the years trying to get these fish back to the numbers that they used to be. and there's just been so many things that don't make sense of things that they're trying to do that I don't think have ever penciled out. But the first one that I want to touch back on is there was a move to remove the dams up in Holy Jim Creek. And if you don't know where this is, if you remember the Holy Jim fire that started, this is the early one back in 2022, not the most recent one. But this fire was started because some environmentalists decided that they need to, it was a dirt road that went to some cabins back in the forest by Holy Jim Falls, and you could stay there, hike up to the waterfalls, and do like a family thing. This is before the crazy guy went nuts and lit the whole place on fire through arson. This is the fire before that. So anyways, it's a dirt road with some like pavement bridges that kind of act like dams to cross the creek without causing a whole bunch of erosion and whatnot to get back to these cabins. There's like 5 or 6 of them. Well, these activists said, you know what? It's these dams back here, which is 35, maybe 30 miles, 30 miles from the ocean. This is the reason why the Steelhead are not in the creek. And we got to remove them all. So we're going to start blowing up. We don't want anybody driving back here. And to hell with hiking to the waterfall and on all that. We're closing this area down, just like how they closed down our MPAs. And we're going to start removing these dams. Well, the crew that was removing the dam was using explosives on a hot summer day, and the brush is dry, and suddenly the mountain caught on fire. Shocking. Well, the other half of the story was that, oh, well, we need to blow. What about this dam? There's a 15-foot elevation difference between San Juan Creek, which is down here by Doho. This is the same creek that connects to Chubuco Canyon. Well, there's a 15-foot concrete dam here that the fish could never go up. So why did we not start here first? This doesn't make any sense, right? So another battle, which I really don't know what the status of this is. I think it's still there. I think nothing has changed. Okay, so this is all, again, all to bring back the Steelhead. Now, there has been, I think, two unofficial Steelhead counted in San Juan Creek by people that I've spoken to over the past 20 years. I'm interested. I think it's a cool species, but I think just the roadblocks that they're trying to remove are just not making sense. So moving forward, and I say this because this watershed, yes, it has man-made obstacles in it, but then you go look at the watershed at Trussell's, which is the south end of San Clemente, the famous surf break. There's a watershed there. There's no man-made features in that creek either. There's no pollution of any kind, really, because it just flows off Camp Pendleton. So it really is just flowing from a natural forest. And there's a lot more water in that creek than there ever is in San Juan. And the reason why I say this is that they've never seen a steelhead there in 25 years either. So the focus on San Juan specifically and Chubuco Canyon, again, just doesn't make any sense. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just using common sense from what I've seen here. So earlier this week, it was found out that the county, oh, this is a video, I'm sorry. The county has been using pesticides in San Juan Creek to remove the weeds that have been growing. Let me see if I can scroll down here. Sorry, there's a whole account here. But anyways, if you want to follow this Creek Team OC, and they got videos of the guy spraying the pesticides, which was Roundup, into the river to help remove the plants that were growing in the creek because it was disrupting the creek flow, which it's not. Okay, when we have a blowout rainstorm, all those plants get pushed over, just like any other watershed. There's no flooding that's happening. There's nothing outrageous, but the county has been spraying so much pesticide in this creek that, one, they're poisoning all the people that are surfing in that Doheny unknowingly, which is every weekend, whether there's a swell or not. And then two, if you've ever followed Captains for Clean Water and you've seen what the effects of pesticide is on the turtle grass in Florida, you would know that there will never be a steelhead in this creek if they're spraying the amount of pesticides that's been going on. So we've caused fires, we've removed access to places for hiking in nature and access to the forest, and blown up unnecessary dams to spray pesticide in the water to poison the surfers at Doheny to bring back a fish that's been gone for 30 years that's never had a chance. This is the epitome of sometimes why California just drives me crazy. But I wanted to bring that to your attention because it doesn't just affect steelhead. It would affect the bait populations and our coastal waters, and maybe some of these things are why we are not seeing the same good coastal fishing that we used to have. Some people say it's being overfished, and they've tried to blame it on the MPAs, but I just want to bring all this to your attention because as a fisherman, these are the things that you got to look at, the bigger picture of why is my fishing declining? We keep closing stuff and it's not making any changes, but end of rant for now, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Regardless, we do have the PCS show this weekend. I'll be out there on Saturday with my son, checking it out like I do every year. But if you see me, stop by, say hi. I love talking to everybody, and stoked to be ready for another new season. I am currently boatless. Still, the prospects that I've checked out have not panned out so far. So hopefully, before it gets going on here, I do pick up another boat for the season. But that's the plan. So got to find the right one. But if not, we'll see you this weekend at the PCS show, or we'll catch you next week here on the channel. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingpelagics.com. And make sure you share the stoke.